What it do, sis?
Hey, we made it.
Child, it was a struggle.
We made it. Look at us. Pew, 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 pew.
Mm. Made it
Kind
to
of
the end. I
big.
can't believe it. I can't believe you made it.
Yes, we made it. We officially have made it to the last episode of the season. Like, woo. But God.
If they only knew. Yeah, with these schedules we had for a minute there.
Listen, it's not even about the scheduling. It's just life has been lifing like individually for us. And people really don't understand what it takes to be a podcaster, and people really don't understand the like it's love that continues to bring us here and to record these episodes. It's the desire we have to see people changed and healed, and just with our content and life experiences. It's really an act of love, every week, to put out these episodes, audio and visual, because life is life, and it's dragging us to hell.
Girl, with gasoline draws on. About to blow up.
Fast, quick, fast. Like, whoo. Literally before this episode, I'm going through stuff. Like, okay, you gotta press play. Like, baby,
Like, come on, God. Come on now.
come on, reward my
Woo.
obedience, Jesus, because this right here. But anyway, let's get into the
Okay,
final
so
topic of the season.
all right. So looking back on this season, what has been the most rewarding part of this journey for each of you? Hmm.
I want to say the most rewarding part of this journey has been seeing my growth, learning stuff about me that I like and I don't like, right? And getting to really see this come to fruition and doing it with you. Like that's been the most rewarding part, because when you're given a thing, it's one thing to have an idea, it's one thing to be given something, but to actually see it come to life and to see the effect that it has on people and all the things, that's an amazing feeling. I know you probably can attest to that with the BTS event. Like, it's very rewarding to see the hard work. When I listen to the
Mhm.
episode's audio, I'm like, oh, that was a good one. I like that. Yeah, even though I don't
Okay.
remember nothing that we talk about, but I just feel like this is good. Like, this is really really good. Like, this is not fluff. This is good, and that's rewarding to me, because I feel like we have put out something that people can eat from, people can
Mhm.
glean from, people can really use and take with them as they grow.
But see, for me, when you asked me to be a part of your vision, I ain't think about nothing. I just said, okay, sis want me to do it. I'm gonna jump on in here. I'm gonna do this thing. I didn't think about, girl, you got your own podcast over here that you got all these episodes set up, and I didn't know once I got into the flow of it, I saw how am I don't know how we made it here. Because I literally, y'all, was doing my podcast and over here recording with her too. Not only that, recording Twisted Tuesdays on top of that, recording regular episodes, recording motivational Mondays. I don't know how
Planning an event,
planning
okay?
an event.
Got a
I don't
whole
know.
newborn.
Oh, I don't know how we got here, y'all. Like
But God.
literally, it was
But
God
God.
leading the
Okay.
way. Okay, because when she asked me, it was an automatic yes, sure. I'm gonna do it. I didn't think about how I was gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But the rewarding part to me is the fact that we made it work, even through the hard times, even through the tough times in our own personal lives. We still said, we got to put these episodes out. Because for a minute there, our schedules was off for a minute. Not only that, we was lifing. So it was like, well, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. So next thing we know, we just one day we just record. And we just got through it. So just being able to see people resonate with what we're saying and being able to relate to what we're saying. And I didn't expect, the turnout that we did have. but people really vibing with it. You know, it's real life stuff over here. We just gonna keep it real with y'all. Period.
Yeah, transparency is key.
Period. All right. So,
What's one lesson you've learned personally from hosting this podcast? Oh,
um, hmm. Now that's a loaded one right there. I've learned on this journey, being on this podcast, that this is a place where it's safe, and I can share myself with the world in another realm on another platform that's all that I also share with you. So I've learned that, your experiences are someone else's experiences. If that makes sense. You think that you're the only one going through some things sometimes, but there's people that's been there, done that, and recovered, or either they're still healing from it. So I've learned that, my experiences in life, there's somebody else that went through it too, like, and probably went through it worse than me, honestly. I can go on and on about what I learned
yeah.
from
Your
being on
your
here.
experiences can also be somebody's blueprint because you being transparent enough to
Hmm.
talk about your experiences could help someone avoid going through that same thing. So, like I said, transparency, vulnerability is key.
Hmm.
The one lesson that I've learned personally from hosting this podcast, when we talked about this earlier, um, SpongeBob ain't always good, baby. Like
Okay.
it's just not.
Right.
It's not good. Like I mean, in the moment, I feel validated. However, certain bridges that you burn, you gotta be real careful about the bridges that you burn because not all the time they're salvageable, right? Sometimes when there's something that's caught on fire, you can extinguish it and it might not be 100% how it was originally, and it
Hmm.
still can be functional. And
Hmm.
then sometimes you can burn it and you can burn it to the ground. And then you have nothing left to salvage.
Yeah.
So you just have to be mindful of of what you are doing and what you're putting out in the world, and not letting your emotions drive you and your decisions because they're not always the best thing for you, and it'll have you ending up either on the first 48 or have you in a situation that you really could have avoided to be in.
Hmm. But you know what, y'all? Like, we joke all the time about the SpongeBob, and see, the SpongeBobbing for her is she be like, she'll dip on you, like with no notice, no nothing. But I mean what I say every time I get on these episodes, and I want this to be recorded because I need her to know that if she ever tries that SpongeBobbing crap with me, um, girl, what
See,
you
okay,
doing?
okay. So let me break the SpongeBob thing down. So for me, I'm a very emotional person, right? So I have to take a minute to debrief and calm the beast, right? So I need that moment to myself to kind of recalibrate, to kind of
Hmm.
like figure out, okay, is this a me thing? Is this a she thing or he thing? What is the lesson in this? Am I being the tool being used? Or what is really going on? And I don't like to say things I don't mean, so I'd
Hmm.
rather SpongeBob you, decalibrate, get my bearings together, and then when my head is cooler, then I'll come back and we can have a mature conversation. But that don't always pan out because people, even though I'll tell people ahead of time, listen, I'm a
Yeah, she do.
SpongeBob you, but I will be back in 24 hours. Give me 24 hours.
She do
People are
that.
still, nope. So, like I said, what's for me
Bliss.
won't miss me. That's all I'm gonna say. If you come back, it's mine. If not, then never was to begin with.
Everybody don't take that SpongeBob and like you do, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful with that when you SpongeBob people, they be like, nah, who? I'm gone, I'm out. But I told her I'll give you your
Yeah.
24. I'm gonna give you your 24 hours. Okay. But after them 24, if you ain't said
But listen, that's how relationships are. I feel like when you enter a relationship with somebody, you're gonna first get the toxic version of them, right? You teach people how to treat you. So if I'm telling you I'm a SpongeBob you, like, okay, let's use you and I for an example. If I tell you I'm a SpongeBob you, and you be like, all right, I'm gonna take this SpongeBob, I'm gonna give you your 24 hours. But I'm gonna let you know, if you want us to continue to be sisters, we're gonna have to figure out a better way to do this. And then as time goes on, people change, people evolve, people will grow, and they'll learn how to be emotionally intelligent and communicate or whatever. But if you just straight out the gate is like, get somebody else to do it, we'll never have relationships. We'll never be able to get to a place of consistency or stability because everybody's so quick to chuck the deuces. You know what I mean? So, um, it is what it is. Who's meant to stay will stay. Who's not, I'm happy with it.
Oh man, I'm done. I can't with her, y'all. I can't. But we still hanging in it though. We still hanging. We facing what, about a year soon?
Yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, it's
I
about
don't
to be
even
a
know
year
what
soon.
what month.
I don't know what either.
April
That's what I said. I think it's real soon, probably April.
or March. It could be this month. Uh, don't give me the
And
line.
give me the
Anyway,
line either.
next question.
So what's a personal growth tip you recommend to the listeners as we close this season?
Um, do self do self inventory. Understand that life is temporary and the people that you are given are also temporary. So be intentional about the time that you are given and the people that you are in charge to steward over. Do not take the moments that you are given with people and the moments you're given with yourself for granted, because God gives and he can also take away. So that would definitely be my tip, because we spend too much time putting off on tomorrow what we can do today. And that includes stuff for ourselves as well as other people. We think we'll have, oh, I'll see them in 6 months. You might not even have that. You might have 6 days. So if you can do it in the words of author Nikki Nicole, if you can do it right now, do it right now.
Like me, she always messing with me by my accent, y'all. But my thing is with personal growth. You sometimes I've learned a lot about showing up for me. I've learned a lot about setting boundaries. And these are things that I never thought I had to do, honestly, because you go through life and you're used to doing things, the way you're doing them every single day, all your life. And then one day you're like, I can say no. That's like a foreign word. Like, are you speaking French? I can tell them no. So I had to learn that it's okay for me to tell somebody no. It's okay for me to prioritize me. It's okay for me to say, no, you can't come to my house before 9 o'clock in the morning. You can't come to my house after 9 p.m. at night. You can't call me after that time. And it's okay for me to say, this weekend is mine and I'm not talking to nobody this weekend. I'm still in a learning process with that. But at the end of the day, I learned too that you can't expect you out of people. Just because you won't do it, don't mean that they won't do it. So you gotta understand that you gotta start learn. Well, you gotta teach people how to treat you for one, and you also gotta take the time to learn who people are too, because everybody's different. So, and not only that, I've kind of like jumped into myself a little bit more in the year 2024 of like really believing in myself, because I haven't always been at that point where I believe that I could do something. But when you start knowing who you are and what your potentials are in your life, and you start utilizing those 24 hours of the day to invest in yourself, then you can go anywhere you want to go in this world just by believing that you can do it, for one, then taking the time to do it. Because just like sis say, tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's
Hmm.
not the next hour is not the next few
Hmm.
minutes is not guaranteed. We plan for things all the time, not knowing if we're gonna be here.
Yeah.
You can pay for a trip to go to Dubai next year, and you might not be here.
Yeah.
So we gotta start, using our time wisely. Because even though you work a job, just be real. People work jobs. They come home, they got a family life, the children, you gotta cook, you gotta clean. This is the typical life. But can you really not say that you have an hour or two for yourself somewhere in that 24-hour period? You can't take 2 to 3 hours to say, I'm gonna do something for me. You said no, sis. You don't got 2, 3 hours.
I mean, depending on the job, like, you know what I'm saying? And if you are bombarded with kids and a spouse, family dynamics in regards to like work schedules and different things like that. I mean, you can designate time, but you're not really thinking about that. You know what I mean? I mean, you
Right.
have 24 hours in a day. If you are supposed to time, you're supposed to time 10% of that time. So that's 2 hours and what, 40 minutes with
Mm-hmm.
God. You're supposed to give your same self another 10%, which is two
Mm-hmm.
hours and 4 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever. Um, we can't do that. We can barely do that. Like, because we're so busy giving out ourselves to other people. We'll
Mm-hmm.
work a job 8, 10, 12 hours, come home, sleep another 4, 6. The stuff that we're supposed to do, which is
Mm-hmm.
sleep and different things like that, we'll spend less time doing that and more time doing stuff for other people. You'll
Mm-hmm.
spend 12 hours for a job and then you'll only sleep for 4 hours. Or
Mm.
you'll work multiple jobs and you have two jobs. And so within a 24-hour period, you're working two jobs, you might get maybe 5 hours of sleep. So it's like, where do you put yourself in that equation? That's why I said you have to be intentional and really do the self inventory. Like, where am I going
Mm-hmm.
in this day? How much of me is being spent doing this? How much of me is being spent doing that? And how much of me is being spent doing me? And 9 times out of 10, a lot of the time is not spent doing us.
But the question comes back to is how bad do you want it? If you spend that time investing in someone else's vision and someone else's dream, why don't you see your dream and your vision the same way? It's just as important. Somebody had to believe in them in order for them to be where they are, for you to be an employee of that establishment. So with that
Yeah.
being said, you got to believe in yourself. That comes back to believing in yourself, that you
Yeah.
can be in their shoes too.
Showing
But
up.
you got to put
Yeah.
in the work. Faith without works is dead. So it's sometimes you have to sacrifice. It's called sacrificing. You got to sacrifice something. If it ain't up but 30 minutes, 30 minutes can mean a lot to your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You got to invest in yourself. So at the end of the day, yeah, I know when I had my 2 kids, man, I was sometimes working 2, 3 jobs. Then come home, you got to help them with their homework. You got to cook. You got to clean. By the time you do everything that you're supposed to do in life, it's time to go to bed and start all over again. So I get it, but see, if I had that mindset now, then ain't no telling what how to be now, sis.
Yeah.
Because my children were already the fuel for my success. So just imagine if I'd have added that extra little step in there of the mindset,
Yeah.
I'd be rich right now. But we gotta really think that way in order for us to get to that level, though. And everybody, we just trying to get through this life, man. We just trying to get through life. That's all we can
It's
do.
hard. Can you share a moment when you both had to coach yourselves through a tough situation?
Hmm. Life. Um, we had to coach each other. We talk too much, y'all.
Um, Share a moment when you had to, well, you had to coach yourself through a tough situation.
Yeah, so let me see. It's been times, y'all, when I didn't want to get up, or sometimes I didn't feel like getting up. Like I just didn't want to. I was that drained. I was that, I'm not in the mood for this today. But that's when it came to the point where I had to get up and say, you know what, regardless of how you feel today, you got to get up, because if you don't get up, how are you going to get to the places you want to be in your life? If you, and I say this a lot, everything starts with you from the very beginning, because you're the person that you see in that mirror every morning. You're the person that you see, period, in the morning, besides if you have a spouse. But you see you first. So if you can't get yourself together and get up out the bed and do what you need to do, than what we doing. So I've had to coach myself a lot when it comes down to just having the energy, having the same mindset, because podcasting, I don't care what nobody say. Podcasting can be really hard if you're intentional, like Sis says. If you're not the podcaster that just pushes the play button, if you're the podcaster that plans every episode to the T, if you're the podcaster that puts your all blood, sweat, and tears into it and not pressing play, that can really affect you mentally sometimes. It can drain you
Yeah.
sometimes. And then especially when you put all of this in and then the guests don't show. That's another hit because you're like, well, what did I do? What could I do have done differently? Now you're thinking about, everything that you did do or what you didn't do to try to, build your brand. So that could be a direct hit and discourage you from doing whatever you were trying to do. So I've had to coach myself sometimes like, man, listen, hang in there, Nikki, because, it ain't all what it needs to be. And sometimes you don't have all the support around you either while you're going through that journey too, as far as podcasting, because people that are directly not podcasting around you, your family, your friends,
We don't
they
get it.
don't understand.
Yeah.
They're not gonna understand that if you're 2-3 episodes behind of editing, that's a big thing. They're not gonna understand that if you're the type of podcaster to give clips, you got to have those clips. And with me, I'm putting an extra spin on the clips. I'm just not sending the clip naked. I'm putting a spin on that clip.
Put some clothes on that thing.
Got to put some clothes on that thing, some shoes. So when you that podcaster that thinks about everything analytically, and you
Yeah.
look at it from a whole, and you're like, okay, this doesn't look right. So that might
Mhm.
take some days for you to do that. But if you're a podcaster that play, just press play, that's fine. But I'm not that podcaster. So when I have those days where I feel like I'm not putting my all in, or it's something I can do better, then I have to tell myself, and that's why I do a lot of motivational videos. Honestly, I'm pumping myself for real. I'm hyping myself up to say, you can do this. I'm telling y'all you can do it, but I'm telling myself that is my way of motivating myself, my way of coaching myself while coaching others at the same time. So that's my take.
For me, I had to coach myself and really tap into my worth. The last job that I was telling you guys about really messed with me mentally because I realized that I was doing things in a settling fashion for the sake of having a job or for the sake of having a spouse or for the sake of whatever it is, right? So that job was an eye opener for me because it was so bad to the point where they didn't even have chairs for you to sit down. And the boss would tell the employees, "Oh, you can sit on the floor," because I was working at a daycare. "You can sit on the floor with the kids." And I'm like, "Okay, so if I sit on this floor, who gonna pick me up? Because I'm a whole 38 and I'm not 8. So getting up from sitting down takes a little longer now than it did 20 years ago or 30 years ago." And it was just like the way that they treat their employees. I was like, this ain't right. And every day that I would go, it would just nag at me, nag and tug at my spirit more and more to the point where I'm like, okay, you're at this job where you're underpaid and not valued. It's taking too much time from your day to the point where, like we said earlier, when it's time for you to pour into you, you're depleted. You don't really show up for your children. On the weekends, you don't look forward to the weekends, not because you're not working, but because you have to do everything in this one day. Now you're overwhelmed, so you have to understand that you're better than this. You know that you're worth more than this. You're smarter than this. You could actually run this daycare. You have the ability to run this daycare. You might not have the degree to run the daycare, but you have the knowledge and expertise to run the daycare. So I had to just tell myself and affirm who I am and whose I am and trust that what's for me, and I'm going to keep saying that, that's my motto for 2025, what's for me won't miss me. And I'm going to take this leap of faith to remove myself from a situation that is depleting me and devaluing me because I believe that I am worth more than that. And I'm not going to settle until I get something that is paying me what I'm worth, treating me how I should be treated, and allowing me to show up for myself, my children, and them in a healthy capacity.
Yo, when I tell y'all, I heard the sadness in her voice every single day. Like, I can tell that she just was not happy. Like, it brought me back to the days when I was younger, when my kids was younger, where I would go to jobs, y'all, and be sad every single day. Like, just was not happy. But because I felt like, okay, I'm their only parent, I have to go there. It was a have to. I gotta go here because I gotta take care of my kids. So I gotta be unhappy. And you sometimes you got and I was teaching my kids this, that when you need money and you have to pay your bills, sometimes you have to suck it up and just be unhappy, just go there, do your job, and go home. But then when they became adults, they taught me something valuable. That's not the way it goes, mom. If you're not happy, you go home, you leave that job. But I'm like, you gotta have a backup plan because my mom always said, you leave a job, you always gotta have another job in your pocket. Always have something lined up. But at the end of the day, like you said, it goes back to self-worth. You gotta know what you're worth. And for a while, I fought with that too, though. I fought with not knowing what I was worth. And I would let these people pay me anything because I felt like I just needed that job for survival. I had to take care of these kids. So I couldn't just be like, well, you paying me $10 and I'm worth 20. They're gonna look at me like, well, you ain't gotta work here. And that's how I felt. But at the end of the day, when I started showing up for myself in that capacity and been like, you know what, nah, you want to pay me 15, let's negotiate this. Because this is what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
I'm dedicated. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. I can help you change your systems to do this. I can bring people on the team to make this team better. Like when I started naming things, that's when you know your self-worth, you
Yeah.
can start telling people off gate what you bring to the table. I am the table. And I brought some chairs too.
Okay.
So when you start thinking like that, ain't nothing you can get in your life. But you have to know what you're worth. But when I tell y'all every day, she was sad. And I was getting to a point where I'm like, girl, just leave. I wanted to say it. So just please just leave.
But yeah, it was that scarcity mindset to the point where you feel like, okay, I have these children, I have to provide, I got bills, and it got to the point where who you trusting in more, the paycheck or me, like God, you know what I'm saying? So it's like if I can bring you to one, I can definitely bring you to another. You just have to tap into who you are. So, like you say, you can show up and have these conversations. Look, I do
Mhm.
this, I do that, I do this, I do that. There's no way in the world I'm gonna take a job. And the crazy part is during the interview, I left because of the pay. And I was like,
Mhm.
nah. But because it offered weekends off, I'm like, okay, I'll settle and do this because this looks good. The carrot was
Mhm.
dangled. This looks good, but that's just 20%. The other 80 was stressful.
Mhm.
So these are the things that you have to think about. And we're not telling nobody to go quit your job or anything like that. What
Right.
we saying is know your worth. And if you are in a situation where you feel that you are underpaid and not appreciated, get a plan, go do what you need to do so that you can remove yourself
Mhm.
and you will be okay.
Right. Right. But you know what? That goes back to your upbringing too, to a degree. Because I don't know about your time period, my time period. My mom didn't exactly know about saving for rainy days and those type of things because she was taught to spend it.
Mm,
Make your money, pay your bills, spend what's, have a good time with what's left. That's your fruits of your labor. But at the end of the day, you have to teach your children, and this is for the young people out there too, save money for a rainy day, because the rainy day is going to come. It
Yeah.
might not come tomorrow. It might not come next week. Might not come next month. It might not come for years. But when it does come, you can take the money that you have saved and do what you need to do with ease. You don't have to
Yeah.
go out and ask nobody for a thing. You don't have to go to the banks and ask them for nothing. You got it set aside just for that moment of a rainy day. Rainy day.
See, I was different. My mother was a leprechaun. She's saving everything. Okay. Me, I'm the opposite. I'm your mama. You can't take it with you. So I'm gonna spend it now. It's my money and I need it now. Ain't that the
You know,
commercial? Oh, okay, that's
I,
me, baby. But at the end of the day, that was me. Again, these are the lessons that I'm learning.
mm-hmm.
Um, as you get older and you have kids and you have a car and you have an apartment and a
Mm-hmm.
spouse and all, just all the things you trying to do a lock journey with your hair, whatever it is, everything
Cost.
requires money. Everything. So even if you're paying your bills and everything is going good now, how long
How long?
will it remain? You know what I'm saying? You're working at this job, but how long? It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Transitions will happen. So you have to have something saved because of the what ifs. And if you don't need it and God decides to bring you home before you spend it, then you have just now created generational wealth for your children.
But
So
that's it's all about
you
faith.
got you got to that's it's all about mindset too. So you have to tap into that and understand that if it ain't for you, it's for the people behind you.
I'm just
So
glad.
it's still necessary.
I'm just glad you left that job, because I was like, because I want to say, do you believe in God? Because child, if you don't get up out of there and trust that God gonna open that door that's right there, it's
Child,
not locked. Get out of there.
it was straining,
Oh,
stressful.
goodness gracious, Lord have mercy. How do you support each other as coaches and as friends, child? That's on you this time. It's on you, ain't it?
Listen, I don't know. We just gonna go
Oh yeah,
for it.
we got.
I'll answer. How do you support each other as coaches and as friends? Well, in the coaching space, it's a fine line between coaching, podcasting, and friend, right? Um, and we haven't learned the lines yet because we kind of like blend all of it. But we show up for coaches, we show up for each other as coaches um by motivating each other. You have Lions mentality, okay? That's author Nikki Nicole. We're gonna get you pumped up, we're gonna get you fueled up, you gonna have that Lions mentality like animal, okay? We gonna get you here. Me, I'm graceful empowerment. Like I just believe in, just getting you right to the point where you understand where the empowerment comes from. It comes from God. It comes from, just him being the ultimate source and you just allowing him to give you the resources that you need to continue to walk this life how he's designed you to, right? As friends, we motivate each other. We have conversations. Nikki will be around the kids and they'll be like, "Oh, I know who you on the phone with because you don't talk to nobody else." Like, okay, little man will be like, "Oh, okay, well, that's Auntie Nikki with like so." We show up in that space because we are giving each other something that we've never had. Um, and that's companionship outside of romantic partnership, right? So we show up in those spaces because we understand that not only children need villages, but adults need villages too. And our village looks like one and one. We tried to add multiple people to the village, but the villages got burnt down. So we're going to stick with the one and one because that seems to work. And whenever we add 1 and 2 or 1 and 4, it always mess up. So we just gonna stick to the 1 and 1 and continue to do what we do, and that's motivate and support, emotionally and mentally, and continue to evolve so we can continue to evolve and just glean from one another.
Let me tell y'all something. She has been motivating me from day one. Before we cross the paths of friends, before we cross the paths of sisters, baby, your production is top
Top 10,
10.
baby. Okay.
They gonna be
Breaking the
coming from the
silence.
ceiling.
I'm trying to tell y'all. Breaking
Boom.
the silence, baby.
She been pumping me since day one. She pumped me so bad to the point now I'm starting to believe I'm gonna have something coming from the seriously, yo. I mean, you need somebody like that in your life, though. That's gonna be like your biggest cheerleader. That's gonna cheer you on because times that she think that I got it, I don't got it. But because she said I got it, I
You
got it.
got it.
If I'm at least I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to make it happen. But I mean, being coaches, this is just extra ingredient added onto what we already have. It makes the recipe make sense. Having the coaching, having the podcasting in there, and then on top of that, being friends and sisters at the same time, it meshes very well. So when one is down, we're good listeners. That's one thing about us. We'll listen to each other problems all day long, and we'll sit there and be like, we might get mad about some things that we dealing with, but at the other people in the situations. But we'll be like, now she got mad at me one time though, y'all. I ain't gonna talk about that, but she did. That thing was funny to me. What you gonna listen to me?
Cause she don't get no rest, y'all. This is the thing that we be talking about. She don't get no rest, and that be making me mad. Cause me, I'm Garfield, baby. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna get some sleep. She the
And
opposite. She
yeah,
will not. I get sleep for the both of us. No, that's not how it works. You need to get sleep for yourself, and I need to get sleep for me. But she don't get no sleep. It make
look,
me mad.
oh, she was mad that night, yo. Listen to me. I'm like, listen. I go to sleep sometimes. It's sometimes now I'm probably down to maybe 2 nights a week that I don't get no rest. That's
That's
good
progress. Yes,
because I
because it
used to
was
do
every night
every night like no rest. So I'm
busting
getting there.
Red Bulls. Okay.
Okay, okay. But I think everything we when we talk every day, we learn something new about each other every single day. That like you like that too. But like, whoa, wait a minute. That's why all this makes sense. Like, so at the end of the day, the coaching, the podcasting, us being friends and sisters just comes together and it makes everything make sense to me. So I'm glad, I'm grateful. I have never met nobody like Shera Renee, and I probably won't ever meet nobody like Shera Renee.
Of course not. I'm 1 and 1. Designer original.
Look at her
Jersey.
with her visuals and her pumping you. And when I tell you, if you want a coach to really
Pew
pump
pew
you
pew
and empower
pew.
you, Coach Shera Renee is the one because she gonna get you right. She gonna get that mind right because you gonna think you can't do it, but by the time she finished with you gonna know you can do
Trying to tell you. I don't even know
it.
who. Okay, I guess I'll ask you. What's one piece of advice you hope every listener takes away from this season?
One piece of advice that there are still good people out there. Um, a lot of times people make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. People make mistakes. People have regrets. But there are genuine people out there that really want to see people win, really support people and want to, when they do things, and they're really genuinely happy about them people winning. You know, jealousy is real. Jealousy is real. People lose their lives over jealousy. And I really to this day don't understand why. If Sarah is doing good in her career, and you're not doing anything in your life, whose fault is that? That's not Sarah's fault. That Sarah is not stopping you from getting to the next level. You are stopping yourself from getting to the next level. So you erasing Sarah from the scenario doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it after Sarah's gone, because everybody get the same 24 hours. Everybody gets the same opportunities to be the best version of themselves. but it's up to you whether or not you put in the work. But there's really still genuine people in the world that don't mean you no harm, that really wants to help you, really gets giggly about seeing you do something well in your life. I be strolling my timeline and I be seeing all these people just doing great things. And I'm like, whoa, especially with somebody that came across my platform, I'm mind blown. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. If they could see me behind the scenes, I'd really be excited for them because I knew where they came from and where they are now. And that to me is growth. And that means that they didn't stop working. They're still going and they're going and they're going. So if we learn to support one another better and we learn to, win together, because people need people. And I say this all the time. People need people. Celebrities needed people. And if nobody was listening to Beyonce songs, how would she be there? If nobody was listening to looking at these movies they have, like Tyler Perry, if nobody wasn't looking at his plays or his movies, how would he be where he's at? So did he need somebody to get? He needed people to get where he's at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Period. That's my take on it. I could give a whole lot. I could get on a soapbox about the advice, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
I want to say, really understand that you will never see this day again. So every day that you wake up is an opportunity to create amazing memories and to show up the way God designed you to. So I really want people to really understand how important it is to be intentional with the time and the space that you are given and the people that you are required to steward over, your children, your friends, your spouses. Don't play with people's hearts. Don't play with people's time. Don't play with people's emotions. We can't get this day back. So do not waste the time that I'm given playing in my face. Do not waste the time people are given playing in people's faces. If you don't have good intentions, stay by yourself and just let people that do have good intentions connect with other people that have good intentions and watch the seeds that they plant and the flowers that grow in this world. But when you attach somebody who does not have good intentions into an area that's meant to have growth, that's where you get weeds. So it's just time to really show up the way that God has designed us to show up and to be the change that we want to see, because it starts with us.
She said that's when you get weeds. You see how she be twisting stuff, y'all. Whew. I ain't gonna say nothing else. So it's my turn. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you could give your younger selves one piece of advice, what would it be? A lot. See,
Be
my
be selfish. Be selfish. Your younger years are meant for you to find yourself 1000%. Take all the time that you are given while you have somebody paying for you. Take all of that time to learn yourself, to love yourself, to really know yourself. Because when you do those things, then you won't rely on anybody else to do it for you. And when something is put in somebody else's hands, they won't take care of it the way you'll take care of it. So if your worth and your love and all the things is put into somebody else's hands, you can't get mad when you are underappreciated, not loved correctly, played with in your face, because you've given the power to somebody else. So take your power back and be selfish. So when you do have the opportunity and love does come and friends do come and all the things, you know that these people are supposed to be there because you're in the right space. You are not attached to trauma because you're still dwelling in trauma. You know what you like, so nobody can't tell you or try to shift your brain to make you think other ways. You don't navigate in life with limited beliefs because you know who you are and whose you are. So be selfish, because when you do get older and you start to become a wife, a mother, a husband, or whatever, those things are going to require a lot from you. So you need to have something to bring to the table. And when you're selfish with yourself, you allow yourself to gain all of that knowledge, that experience, that expertise, to have something to add to what you're trying to put together later.
See, she took mine, y'all. But I got some more. Don't be afraid. Um, don't let fear stop you from really being the person that you were designed to be. Because whether we know it or not, God put all of us on this earth to for a purpose and for a reason. And it's up to us to find that reason or find that purpose. And sometimes it takes us longer to get there. But what held me back was fear. My main thing was, what they gonna say about me? What they gonna think about me? Are they gonna like what I'm doing? Are they gonna I spent my majority of my life coming out of one shell after another shell after another shell after another shell. I was shedding all these years. I'm 45 years old. And I have shed so many times over my life because now fear probably was the last thing that I shed. You shed fear, you shed um confidence. You start showing up for yourself. It's a lot of things that you shed as you go through life. But I wish that fear would have been the first layer to come off. Because had I had let that be the first layer, then I wouldn't have been afraid to do a lot of things that I know I can do well. And then when people say, "Well, you can do this well, you can do this," and "Oh, you this," and I be looking at them like, "No, I can't," because at one point I didn't believe that I could. And then getting up there for the first time, I went on the stage, y'all, and sung at my event. When I tell y'all, when I finished, now I only sung the chorus. I didn't give them the verse, and I was scared. I was scared to death. And the only reason why I ended up there because I had said I wasn't gonna do it. I messed around and told I had practiced it in a sound check, so they heard the whole song. And I said, "Well, I'm not gonna do it." I messed around and told them artists that I wasn't gonna do it. They checked me so fast, y'all. This is when you pour into people, people will pour into you. They said, "What do you think we feel when we go on the stage?" We're scared. We're nervous. We're worried about people, how they're going to perceive us on the stage. So, what makes you different? You're going to do it. They told me I was going to do it. So, I'm like, well, dog, I've been pointing to them. So, I guess I'm going to have to listen. I ain't got no choice. I'm going to listen. So, I get up there, y'all, shaking like a tail feather. Like I was nervous. But this is something I used to do in church. I used to sing, I used to lead songs in the choir, but I was scared then too. But I think then it was like you got to do it. My mom said I had to usher, I had to sing on the choir, I had to participate anything in that church, anything and everything in that church. So it was more or less I had to do it. But after going up there, honestly, it opened up a whole nother door for me that I didn't even know was there the whole time. That all I had to do was just turn the knob. But I actually love singing. But fear stopped me from taking it to the next level. A lot of things in my life to the next level. So my advice to myself is just don't be scared. And don't be concerned about what people are gonna say about you at the end of the day. Because the only person that can judge you at the end of the day is God. He made you. He knew your potential before you even knew your potential. But it was up to you to really say, I'm gonna be the person that he designed me to be. I'm gonna be created in his image the way he wants me to be. So don't be afraid. That's it.
I like that you said that, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about this movie. I'm a Disney girl. So Tangled. I don't know if you've ever seen Tangled, but Tangled is about Rapunzel. And the person who took her from her parents kept her in this, let's say, tower, right? And she stayed there for a lot of years. And the person who took her told her, outside is bad. You can't go outside, right? So she had this fear developed in her for years. And one day she just decided, you know what? I'm about to go outside. I'm about to have a hot girl summer. I'm about to go outside and see what it's like. And when she went outside, she was so amazed at the things that she was able to see, the lights and the world and even the people. They was a little crazy, but just her experience and all the things that she was able to tangibly get her hands on and experiences that she was able to have because she didn't allow the fear to keep her in the tower. So I like that you said that because that is exactly what happens when we mentally shift our minds to get out of fear, because fear is false evidence appearing real. So wherever you are in a situation where you have fear, like, okay, leaving a job, I fear that I'm not going to, be able to pay my bills. That's false evidence appearing real. It appears that you're not going to be able to pay your bills, but faith says God got you. So whenever you get into a place, wherever space in life that you have a fear, you have to sit there and say, okay, this is false evidence appearing real. What is the opposite of this fear? What's on the other side of that? And that's when faith comes in. So I love that you said that because that is so important. Um, you will stop a lot of things in your life because you are fearful of the outcome of what can go wrong. But what if it go right? So I just want y'all to just to think of it that way. Let's stop looking at the glass half empty and start looking at it half full. Stop looking at the things of what could go wrong and say, well, maybe it could go right. We do that in relationships too. Currently, where I am emotionally, I'm thinking of all the things that could go wrong. But what if this time it really goes
Mhm.
right? What
Mhm.
if this job is really the job that goes right? What if this relationship is really the relationship that goes right? What if this partnership really goes right?
Mhm.
So we have to focus on that and not the opposite of that.
Did y'all hear that acronym she dropped and just like went over it like it wasn't a real deal? She just did acronym with fear,
That's what it is. False evidence appearing real.
but you dropped it like that wasn't nothing. That was major. I'll leave it alone, y'all. We'll leave it alone. Last question. Last question. What can listeners? I don't even know who turned it. I'm just. I guess. What can listeners expect in the next season of the podcast? Pew pew
Child,
pew.
we an hour in. So at this point, it's just a free for all. Whoever go. What you can expect next season: growth, um, confidence, life experiences, some good news. Let's talk about, because it's gonna go right. Everything is gonna go right. Everything that we put our hands on is gonna go right. 2025 was for us, won't miss us, and we gonna bring y'all with us. So you can expect a lot more transparency, a lot more vulnerability, a lot more heartfelt content. Um, and just us growing and evolving as we're trying to help you and guide you to grow and to evolve, because we're not perfect, we're still learning, but we can tell you what we've gone through and what we've come through, so as we go up the step and you're behind, we can show you, okay, well, this step you gotta cross over. This one you might have to jump. This one, this got a
Mhm.
little slant to it. So be careful. Like, so we're taking you guys on our journey and helping you navigate yours.
I read something. I'm big on lions, y'all. Big on lions. I love the lion. So I read something. I be sharing this thing every day now. With something with a lion and a saying. So it says leaders don't force people to follow. They invite them on a journey. Now let that sink. So we're inviting you on this journey. of transformation, this journey of lessons learned, this journey of growth, this journey of life in general. Because everybody at some point is life. They're gonna go through something in their lives. And me
Mhm.
being 45, man, you would think that I wouldn't have went through half the stuff I went through in my life. But I've been through a lot, y'all. Like in this short time period, well, long period, because some people don't even make it to 45.
Yeah.
Some people don't make it to 38.
Yeah.
So we have to be grateful for the time that we have on this earth. And like sis says all the time, and I'm starting to use this a lot because this is something she owned for real. You have to be intentional with everything that you do in your life. Do it with purpose, do it with grace, do it the right way the first time. Don't hurt people's feelings and then come back and apologize. And then hurt their feelings again and come back again and apologize. This is why apologies doesn't they don't mean anything to me because they're words. Actions speak louder to me than words. And people often say, you know what? Why do you think you're supposed to talk to people? Now I do have people that I don't talk to every single day. But there are like Shera, I talk to her every single day. There are certain people in my life that I don't talk to every day. And if I don't, I'm like, what's happening? You okay? You all right? You know, I'm worried. But I've been just a big stickler on showing up for people in the way that I want them to show up for me. Just like I had to teach them how to treat me, they have to do the same. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to learn to crack through that because maybe I lost somebody because I expected something out of them they couldn't provide. Maybe. Um, and sometimes that comes with growth when you start realizing that okay, certain things could have been changed if this would have happened, or certain things could have went another way if this would have happened. Maybe it was me. When you start having accountability in the things that of your actions and the things that you do, your life gonna shift in a major way because now you just taught yourself how to treat people at the same token of teaching them how to treat you. That's gonna fly with somebody's head. But you have to start taking accountability in your life for the things that you do. And then you have to start coaching yourself, molding yourself, changing yourself, shifting yourself to the point where you can deal with the world. Because everybody in this world is different. Everybody's different. Everybody got their ways. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody got their ways, good or bad or ugly. And you have to know who you are first in order for you to be able to deal with you first. You got to deal with you before you let somebody else deal with you. And that's just real. But I had a problem over the years of people showing up. And that's a me thing. That is a Nikki thing for real. That's a Nikki thing. And I got to realize that everybody's not going to see that as a thing, especially if they come from an environment where people didn't show up for them like that, or people did, or they didn't have to talk to people every day as long as, but you know what? You know what I think about that? What if you didn't talk to the person that you love today and tomorrow comes and you see RIP on the timeline? How would that affect you? How would you feel knowing that you could have talked to that person that day before, but you didn't because you felt like, I don't got to talk to them every day. But you don't got to talk on the phone. You can send a text. You can send an email. I mean, you don't have to have a physical conversation to be in touch with people. And I think that's where people misconstrue things. But that's how I feel about it. I don't want a day to go by because I felt that way before. I had a very dear friend of mine that I used to work for. He was my boss. And we went years without talking to each other. And I mean, years and years. And we used to be in the habit of talking every single day. Honey, when somebody reached out to me and told me that that man had passed away, I like to lost my mind because I don't know if we was on good terms the last time we talked or not. I couldn't remember. But I like to lost my mind. He got in a car accident, a bad car accident. He was living a healthy, well, he wasn't living a healthy life because I told him, he used to tell me, you need to go to the doctor. You around here, you playing with your life. Yeah, I did. Go to the doctor. He was playing with his life for real though. But he didn't die of health issues. He got in a car accident. So at the end of the day, this is what I've lost so many key people in my life that I probably will be friends with to this day through death. I had a friend, Miss Edith. I never forget her as long as I live. She called me one day and I missed the call. I was like, I'll call her back. That was my response. I'll call her back. I didn't get to call her back, y'all, because you know why? She got in a car accident, ran off the road that day. And she told me in the voicemail she had something to tell me. Died. Somebody struck her, a drunk driver,
Wow.
hit and run, pushed her into a tree, and she died instantly. Just like you and I, me and her meshed well from day one. We was in a med training class. She's working for the Board of Disabilities, and from day one, she was like me and her was we clicked. We was just she was a little older than me, but we was like best friends. Like that was my friend. And when the news came around that she had passed away, because I was like, she not answering my phone calls. I'm like, what she always answer my phone calls. Honey, I went into work that night. I worked third shift. And people, how people be looking at you like they saw a ghost or something. I walk in the door, they looking at me like, how we gonna tell her this? They knew that
Mm.
was my friend. Like that was you saw her, you saw me. She loved my wife, we was just cool. So I'm walking in, what y'all looking like that for? I'm always saying something stupid. So what y'all looking at me for? I look good like that today, I'm just in my scrubs, I'm just, and they was like, they just still just looking at me. I ain't even make them smile. They was just looking at me like, they said, Miss Edith passed away. Honey, I almost dropped to the floor. I said, who? I had to go home. I didn't go back to work until after I went to her funeral.
Wow.
So this is why I'm so big on showing up for people, because the people they're not here anymore. I didn't answer her phone call. She had something to tell me. I can't call her now. So you start being intentional with your time with people in general. If you don't like them, move on. If you don't want to be in their presence, move on. If you don't want to deal with them, move on. Don't waste nobody's time pretending that you care, pretending that you love them. Just be intentional with your time and people, man, and show people that you care. That's all I got, man. I'm about to get on an emotional roller coaster with that one. Whew.
Yeah, that's rough. I can relate to that because I talk about my uncle a lot, and I'll never forget my birthday, 2023. My birthday is April 29th, and it was on a Sunday. And he called me, and he always called me on my birthday, say happy birthday. And I was joking with him because I'm like, he was on Facebook. So I said, how you on Facebook? You can't even text. Like what we doing? Like who gonna run the page? Because it ain't gonna be you, because you can't text. Like, what are we doing? And me and him laughed and kikied, and it was a great conversation. And we got off. He always say, I love you, I love you. And nothing, nothing of it. And literally that Wednesday, my mom calls me and tells me he's gone. Like, what you mean? I just talked to him. And then a friend of ours, me and Thomas, out Memorial Day weekend, he was telling me he was gonna get his hair cut. He about to do something new. But he gonna go to he wasn't feeling good that day because he had a headache. And that Wednesday, after Memorial Day, um, he was in a coma and he never came out. Found a brain tumor. Gone. So that's why being intentional for me is important, because I've seen people in caskets that I just talked to. It's one thing when a person is sick, you kind of prepare yourself, you kind of like, all right, this person is starting to slim down. Let's mentally prepare for, next steps. But when you physically just talk to a person and then you find out that they are just gone, that does something to you. That does something to you emotionally, you mentally, psychologically. And it's important that we just be intentional because life is here today, gone today, not tomorrow, today. So you just have to, just be the change that you want to see and show up in the world. You might be the only version of sunshine somebody gets today. And if you can't be that for somebody else, then allow somebody to be that for you.
That's it. That's it. But it's funny you say that about your uncle. But I think about this a lot too. It's a lot, man. Listen, life. My aunt, my day one A1. Like, I don't know if you ever heard me talk about my aunt Weeze. Cursed like
Hmm.
a sailor. Used to
Hmm.
have her snuff and her Budweiser. That's what she sent me to the store to get some peach snuff and a case of Budweiser. And everybody I knew, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, had to meet Aunt Weeze. And she would tell you about yourself right in your face. Like, she didn't wait until you leave and say, Nikki, I don't think that's the right one. No, she say right then that ain't the one. Yeah, but it wasn't nobody she came in contact with that she didn't like. She fed everybody. That was the first person. I believe, yeah, that was the first person I told I was gay. And like I
And
said,
did she say, didn't she, is that the one that said to you, tell me something I don't know? Like,
right.
what you want me to,
What you want, a cookie? Like, what you want? Like,
duh, knew
duh.
that. Moving on.
Anyway, what you want to watch on TV? Like, dude, it
Oh
took a lot
god.
for me to tell you this, and you act like it
You
ain't
about to
nothing.
have a whole heart attack. She like, that's what you had to tell me?
Yeah,
Duh. I knew
curse
that.
me out
Next.
and curse me
Like,
out, and went on to the next subject. So when she left this world, my mom, I never forget. My mom called me, and she was like, she's not feeling well. Like I said, she was always the one on her feet. Every Sunday, I would eat Sunday dinner at her house. And the church, like our church was like, my church was like right down the street from her house. So I would walk. Cause my mom, she was a trustee, so she had to count money. So I ain't want to stick around. So I walked to my Aunt Wee's house or whatever. So we go down there every single Sunday. I mean, every single Sunday to eat dinner. And my mom called me. I was in North Carolina at the time, but I had to work. And she said she's sick. Like, she had just came on her, sick. And you need to get home. I said, you know what? I gotta work. Survival mode. I gotta work. I'll be
yep,
home tomorrow.
yep.
Tomorrow came and my Aunt
And
Weeze
she
was
been on.
not here.
Yeah. Hmm.
I like to lost my mind.
Yeah.
And it's one thing when people are calling for you, when they want you there, and then you don't go. And then next time you see them, they're in a casket. I like to lost it at that funeral.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, people gotta time, boy. You gotta make sure
You
you
can't get it back.
cherish
You can
the
get money,
time.
you can get a job, you can get a spouse, you can have more kids, but you cannot get time. You will never see this day again. Like, you will never see this day again. So you just have to be intentional and make beautiful memories, because when you're gone, that's all other people have.
It
These
memory
podcasts and all the things that we're putting out, our kids get to see this, our grandkids get to see this, because the internet is going to be forever.
forever, ever.
So they get to see this. They get to see us laughing. I wish I did have a podcast or something to see my uncle or my grandmother whenever
Mhm.
I think of them, or even my daughter being alive and just seeing stuff that I can, when I miss her or whatever. Like, we have to really take advantage of what we have. We're in a beautiful space, a digital space where we can put out great things, and we just have to start doing better.
Yeah. Only if heaven had a phone.
I'll run that
Child.
line up, child.
What? If I had to call collect, I'll call collect. Here, that's a lot of
Money
good
is not
ones.
an option,
Not
baby.
an
Like,
option when I could talk to my grandfather, my grandmother, my aunt.
child,
When I'm
uh,
going through things.
come on. I was like, come on here, Nana. Tell me about this one. Because you see what I can't see, baby. Because
Okay,
I need to know.
at least to know. Do they really like me?
Uh, uh,
Do
yes or
they
no?
really?
Check the yes, no,
Are
check the
they?
yes box or the no box.
Are they
I don't
really
want
my
no mate.
friend? Yeah. But yeah, this has been a great journey, y'all. This has been a great journey, and I can't wait for season 2. We gonna get a little bit more personal in season 2. You're probably gonna know about some things that we've been dealing with that nobody knows. That's gonna be a different for me.
One burner.
It'll be different from me because I don't do that, y'all. So if y'all get a piece of me like that, then hey, we doing good over here. See why you see this.
I'm just because it's so many things. Like the types of conversations that could happen. That's a whole season in itself. The things people don't know.
Okay.
That might be a theme for season
or they
2.
they wish they knew.
What was that?
Ah,
MTV. You think you know, but you have no idea.
no
What
idea.
was I forgot the name of the show, but child. Hmm. Well, if that's what you want to know, you want personal, put it in the comments, okay? You want personal, put it in the comments. You want healing, put it in the comments. You want transformation, put it in the comments. Whatever it is that you are seeking for season 2, let us know, because the focus and the aim of this is to really provide you guys with a safe space to come every week and to kind of just take a break and escape from the cares of life, to laugh, to kiki, but also to have something tangible for you to keep with you, to maintain until the next time we see each other again. So put it in the comments what you would like for us to rap
If you
about.
want the tea, if you want the tea, put it in the comments. If you want to see some guests up here, put it in the comments. Hey, we trying to twist season 2 and take it to the next level. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this episode. We have been up here a long time, y'all. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this
It's the
episode.
season finale. We had to.
Season finale. We made it. That's all I just say. We made it, y'all. And I hope
We
that y'all
did.
continue to hang in there with us and learn some lessons along the way. And maybe this will allow you to grow on your journey through whatever you're trying to go through. Anything else, sis? You looking like
Well, until next season, you guys, we're gonna take a sabbatical. Probably about a month off. If it was up to me, it'd be a little longer. But we're gonna, Nikki she got the itch. She can't be off the mic that long.
girl
So
bye.
we gonna take a little break, and we're gonna come back before the summer and give y'all season 2. And until next time, we are still here, healing hearts and inspiring change.
Late everybody.